What is up, guys, and welcome back to another career mode episode, number 49 for the My Team journey. One more and we can raise that bat for the half a century. Guys, with F123 potentially only a few months away, the 100 episodes streak ain't looking good, Brev. But welcome to another episode. This time we're here for the Mexican Grand Prix. I think this is the third to last race of this season. Then we wrap up with Brazil, the sprint race, and in Abu Dhabi. The current championship order is us in second, 22 points shy of Fernando Alonso in the McLaren. It's been a very shaky season, riddled with inconsistency and unreliability. But when we have been on it, we've been absolutely on it in terms of pace, really outperforming the performance of this car. But we're getting towards the end of the season where we need to start focusing on consolidation of upgrades for next season for the regulation changes. It's pretty much affecting all departments, really. So I don't imagine we'll see any more upgrades after that one that we've seen from the Mercedes. Mercedes are the only team brave enough to upgrade heading into this race. Of course, they need to consolidate that part that they literally just put on the car. So yeah, that's going to be a tricky one for them to see if they can maintain their level of performance. We're going full steam ahead with next season. We're going to hit the ceiling, even if we did want to upgrade. We wouldn't even be able to be the best car if we wanted to because of the lack of Spec 3 facility upgrades. So we're putting everything into next season in the hopes that we can hit the ground running and be the best car from race one. So that's going to be our hope for winning the drivers and the constructors. Of course, that doesn't mean we're giving up on this season, that's for sure. We are only 22 points shy of Fernando Alonso, but it is going to be tricky. Particularly with the mistake, the major mistake we've just made. We forgot to put our new engine in for the start of qualifying for this Mexican Grand Prix. We're in the mud. We are absolutely in the mud. It is a 17-minute session. Thankfully, we're doing long qualifying, so we can afford to put on some different components. We're going to change the ICE, and we're going to risk it and change the turbo as well. That takes up 14 minutes of this session. And somehow the boys have managed to whack on a new engine, new turbo, in less than 15 minutes. So much so that we're actually going to get out there and do a run at the end of Q1. That is absolutely insane. The fact that we're actually able to somewhat salvage this qualifying session. We're going to go out straight away as soon as the turbo is done. Last screw is put on, and we're ready to set off for our qualifying run. Here we go. 1 minute remaining. We only have one shot at this, but thankfully there's quite a large divide between the top and the bottom teams that we should be able to get through. I'm pretty good at this circuit, and I feel like this circuit will hopefully suit the car as well compared to the AI. Across the line, where are we? 8th place. Okay, we will absolutely take that. That is damage limitation to the extreme. We've made it to Q2, and from here we can hopefully have a more smooth weekend. But we still are a little bit muddled with some of the components we do have in. The MGH is over 50%. That's going to make the engine a little bit hotter over the course of the weekend. Unfortunately, yeah, we can't put that component on. I was hoping that maybe we'd be able to change that as well, but no. Because it's now Parc Ferme after we've gone out in qualifying, means we can't change anything on the car. So we're going to have to live with it. We're P2 in Q2 with a few more laps under our belts and a bit more confidence. We're at the same pace as our championship rival, Fernando Alonso. So despite the suboptimal components in the power unit, we're actually on pace. But you know, some of those issues aren't really going to present themselves until we get to the race, because the engine's going to be running hotter over the duration of the stint, and the battery isn't going to recover as well long term. This is okay somewhat in these you know, one-shot runs because you don't need that longevity. It doesn't matter if the engine overheats slightly just on one lap. It shouldn't get hot enough to overheat on one lap. But I'm a little bit more concerned about our race pace. Anyway, this is Q3. We're only using one set of soft compound tires because I think I might start from the back in order to get those better components on. To break parc ferme, which is what we need to do, we have to start from the back. Let's see what this time is, though. Across the line for our final run, 13.9. That's my PB for the whole weekend, and it puts us in P4 ahead, crucially, of Fernando Alonso. So now we have a bit of a dilemma. Do we risk it all for the race win and put on new engine components? Because I feel like we're very fast, and we'll be even faster in the race relative to the AI usually, but especially so if we put on a new engine. Now, it's going to be risky. It's simulation damage. It's raining for the race as well, as no less, so that in itself presents some risks. It's going to be harder to overtake in the rain. But do we just chance it on our slightly older engine components? Because we do have the pace, we do have the track position. Do we just stay in front of Alonso and try and get a couple positions higher up the order? It is risky because, I don't know, with our issues, we may not be able to get the win, even if we start from P4. So, guys, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to go for it. We are 22 points behind in the standings. We need a win, realistically. So, that's what I'm going to go for. We're going to break parc ferme, and we are going to put on pretty much all new engine components. I'm not taking fresh because sometimes with faults on you can have engine failures, so I'm going to play it somewhat safe and put on components that I know are reliable.
It's time then for the Mexico City Grand Prix, a race which gave Honda their first ever victory back in 1965. American Richie Ginther winning from third on the grid. Red Bull have been strong here in recent seasons, but can they keep that record going today? And with me as usual is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Benjamin. They need to win in order to ensure they stay in contention for the championship. Anything outside that, and their fate is no longer in their hands.
The key now will be to keep in the right mindset. We've seen time and again that things go wrong if you just try and do the minimum. Not necessarily because of the pressure, but because it's different to your usual approach. They'll need to avoid that and stay focused today.
So here we are then, maximum pressure to start this Mexican Grand Prix. We are last place on the grid, and we're lining up in the rain. Conditions in which are kind of the great unknown, because we haven't done any running in the rain this weekend at all. So the form guide is completely out the window. I feel like I'm running a low downforce setup compared to the AI, or just in general, 18-13. Generally speaking, is a low downforce setup. We've increased the rear tire pressures because we can get away with that in the race, and especially in the rain. So hopefully that'll give us a bit more rotation and a bit of traction as well overall. More rear tire pressure you can run, the better, without getting away without any consequences. That's an Aston Martin running into the back of me. Out of position, it seems. But here we go, ready to start this race. Guan Yu Zhou has been disqualified. I'm mounting Alexander Albon. The lights are going to go out, and we're underway. That is the weirdest start I have ever had on the Formula One game ever. All the penalties, all the disqualifications coming in, but we are away for this Mexican Grand Prix. We got simulation damage. I don't know if the car is wrecked or not. I think it's actually okay. Heading into turn one, Porsche squeezed 3 wide between two Alphas. We nearly run into the back of Tictum. Nicholas Latifi is out of the Grand Prix, and the safety car has been deployed. That was a bit hectic, I think it must be said. We'll have to grab some replays of everything that happens in that first 30 seconds of the Grand Prix, because that was a bit wild. So here we go. There's the start. You can't really see anything from that far wide, but we'll get a close-up of what happened between ourselves and Albon. There was actually someone else further up the grid as well who was being mounted as well. Look to your right-hand side. Latifi actually runs into the back of his fellow Williams teammate and doesn't last one corner. We got tangled up with Stroll. There was an illegal overtake there somehow. So he had to give up that position. Really frustrating because everyone came to a stop and I would have been able to gain a few positions out of that. But there's Albon. Like, the red lights are on and we just touched the ground in time for us to get away. What? I just have no words. It's a race against time for my car to hit the tarmac, and then it did, and the lights went out and we were away. I don't know what would have happened if he was still in the air on Albon's car when the lights went out. Meanwhile, championship rival Fernando Alonso also was being mounted, and that was by the Mercedes. So, absolutely wild start. Fernando actually hasn't got off to a good one. He gets overtaken by the Ferrari and I believe his teammate, but he's got the drive, he's got the legs heading down into turn 1. I believe he's actually lost a few positions off this opening lap. We'll get a confirmation of this here. As you can see, he goes round the outside, turns the inside for the left-hander, but Fernando in a championship winning position is playing it safe and he lets his teammate go through without any risk there. So Nando is down in 8th or 9th place at this stage, which isn't great points. We're in 18th. We've actually moved forward off the start of the Grand Prix, so we'll take it. And crucially, we don't have damage. Because the mounting happened before the race started, there wasn't any damage applied, so we're actually okay. I don't think the damage model kicks in until after the red lights go out. So, yeah, there you go. Bit of a weird one, but we're away. I've done 40 plus seasons of career modes. I've never seen that before. So there's a first for everything, guys. Safety car is in at the end of this lap. We're just going to take every chance we can now. That starting incident could have been game over. The car could have exploded. I've seen stranger things happen. F1 2011, safety car, touched it, car exploded. So yeah, could have easily been as bad as that, or if not worse. But we're away, and we're going to try and move forward if we can. P13 at the moment. Lance Stroll is next. We're going to go full send if we can. Use a bit of battery early on to get some early track position, because once it goes dry, it will become harder. As we go up the inside, no, that's a massive lookup. We've run into the side of George Russell in the Haas, and he is out of the Grand Prix. It's absolute carnage here in Mexico. We don't even get 2 corners worth of racing before the race is stopped again. Or at least I think it's not stopped again. There is no safety car for that incident between us and George Russell. No penalty either, mind you. But we do have our own consequences in the fact that we've lost our front wing. We've got a red front wing on the right-hand sides. And we are going to have to box at the end of this lap to change that, which is so disruptive to our race as well, because there's no safety car. We're going to be 30 or 40 seconds off the leaders. Oh, and Piastri with the big dive bomb. I'm not complaining. I mean, it was completely my fault. Car locked up. Something I didn't tell you guys in qualifying is another little screw up here, is I didn't change the brake pressure. I normally lower the brake pressure because with these upgraded career mode cars, when you do upgrades to the brakes, it means the stopping power is too good and you end up locking up a lot more, and I just didn't end up changing it. So in that heavy stopping moment, we just completely locked up all tires and went straight into Russell. So that's the unfortunate situation. And here's another one billowing here for the team. We are last by a long way. 17th and 18th for Marduk Motorsport. Porsche double stacks behind us. I'm not sure why. Must have had damage. But yeah, Marduk Motorsport in the mud now in this Mexican Grand Prix. This is not the race we needed when we were trying to win the race. I guess, in hindsight, it was a better call to just stay out there in 4th place and try and pick up some small points on Fernando Alonso at this stage. If it's green flag running for the rest of the race, Fernando's going to gain on us and could potentially put us out of hopes of winning this championship. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Let's hope there's a safety car. Let's hope we can use a bit of our pace to get back in. And we've gone purples to the middle sector and purple overall on this lap. The track is improving. It is that happy hour phase where, you know, the last person to cross the line will always be the fastest on track kind of thing. But interestingly, when Verstappen crosses the line, the race leader, he doesn't go purple. So we actually are quicker. Sergio Perez is out of the Grand Prix. The Merc is done. This could be our ticket to getting back in this championship, guys. The Mercedes is done. And the hometown hero is out of this race. The home crowd will be leaving in their droves now, seeing Verstappen in P1 running away with this race. And yeah, Perez in the mud. That's his the nightmare scenario that they face at this stage. Not a nightmare for us though. Our pace is actually pretty good, chucking in some fastest laps at will. It seems into the 22s now, as we're getting a alternate strategy change. This is the battle that's going on just up the road from us. This is Albon and the AlphaTauri side by side in the stadium section. And they're only 11 seconds up the road, so we've caught them by 11 or 12 seconds already. Such is our pace. We're lapping about a second, maybe a second and a half a lap quicker than those ahead of us. And when they battle, that quickly becomes 2 seconds a lap. So, yeah, we are absolutely flying at this stage. You can see how dominant our pace is. It's a real shame that we came together with that Haas at the start. I should have been more patient, because this is the pace. This is the potential of our car. We're just flying at this stage. We'd probably be challenging the race leaders if we didn't get tangled up with the back markers, but such is motor racing, I suppose. The tyres are a little bit dead, 56% on the rears. We're going to have to think about dry tyres very soon. The track is getting oh so close to that stage where we can switch onto those, but we're just going to be a little bit more patient, just wait for it. I think potentially this lap or the next for sure it's going to be dry compound tyres. My teammate's in, Teo Pourchaire, he's gone on for mediums, which, based on how harsh the tyre wear is, I don't think he's going to be able to make those go to the end. I'm going to go hards. I need to get away with one less stop than the AI, so I'm going to chance it and see if I can stretch these hards to the ends. As you can see, we've got a nice run on Albon here, up into overtake. Tyres are nearly dead, up the inside, and we rub side pods into the stadium section. I think I moved a little bit left, and I think Albon especially moved right to instigate that small bit of contact. I was really caught off guard by that. You can see actually my car is angled to the left, heading to the braking zone, but Albon also moves right, so both at fault there, and lucky, very lucky, to not get more damage. We're okay. Car is fine. Side pods are good. No damage or chipped end plates or anything, so we're all good, and we're coming into the pits now for our hard compound tyres. What is the rest of the field going to say in terms of strategy? If they all go mediums, they will need to stop again. They will need to stop again. Schumacher goes hard, so does Piastri. Bearing in mind these lower down teams also have less tyre wear upgrades, so they might be forced to go hards. And if they may even need to stop again on their hards, potentially, if it's bad enough. But we're at the halfway stage, we're onto the hards, and oh my word, the traction is absolutely non-existent. Stone cold tyres, 72 degrees is not what you want. You want those to be over 80 if you want to have a proper operating temperature. But I think maybe even 85 is probably ideal. But yeah, tyres are stone cold at this stage. We got jumped by Albon in the pit stop, so good job from the Aston Martin boys to get themselves ahead of us. Fernando Alonso is the last one to respond on the intermediate tyres, and then he comes for hard compounds. The only person who's done different is my teammate, Teo, so maybe he knows something different that I don't, but I'd imagine that he's going to have to come in again for new tyres just to make it. But we're hoping for a safety car anyway. Warming up the tyres, they're still not great. We're still losing time to Albon. The gap was, well, pretty much nothing when we came out of the pit lane, but he's gapped us by 2 seconds. But now the tyres are starting to switch on as we head into the 80s. And now we're making some inroads on Albon now. So now we're flying. Pourchaire is also flying 15 seconds back. It's going to be tough for him to do anything in this race. We need a safety car to even have a sniff of getting some points. I think P10 is the Aston Martin that's heading into turn 1 right now. And that gap is like 15 seconds, I want to say. So we're going to have to put in qualifying laps, lap after lap, if it remains green flag running for the rest of this Grand Prix. Oh my word. Thankfully, Fernando Alonso isn't getting many points. We're sizing up a move on Albon here, up the inside into the middle sector. And that is P15. Nice little dive there. Thank you very much. And hopefully we continue this march. That's Magnussen flying in P2. Quickest man on the dries. Might be challenging Verstappen at this rate. But yeah, thankfully, Alonso is kind of nowhere in this race. He's looking at P8 at best in this one. So, wow. And a P7 actually. P7 is what he'd get at best. But we're shaping up a move on Piastri here up the inside into the stadium section. Purple to this middle sector lap. But the track is still, rubbering in. It's still improving. It's still drying. So everyone's going to be going faster for the foreseeable future. And as we burn off fuel as well, we should just get quicker and quicker with these tyres too. Tsunoda is next. Put him up by a few seconds. We're leaving Piastri and Albon in our wake. We might dive bomb into that left-hander. But no, we're going to wait. We're going to be patient. DRS is very powerful here. At least you'd think so. Our straight line speed compared to the AI isn't great. I think they're running less wings than us, which explains why we were so OP in the rain. But look at this. We've got slipstream and DRS and overtake on Tsunoda. That AlphaTauri is very quick in a straight line, as we know from co-op. We're going round the outside into turn 1, try and outbrake him, and he actually stays ahead. And we use our better tyres, our better grip through the mid-corner to sweep around his outside and take P13. Had to use most of my battery to do so, by the way. But yeah, I think there's a significant advantage for us in Sector 2. And yeah, the most part of Sector 3. The AI are OP in Sector 1. That's where all the straights are. So I'm doing my best to do some battery management and just deploy what I need to get those overtakes done. This is the next battle up the road. This is Stroll and Schumacher for the final points-paying positions, if anyone retires. But yeah, P12 here. Do we dive bomb? Yes, we do this time, because Schumacher is there to get the DRS off of. We get the nice little switch back. We caught Stroll by so much, and he dives us straight away.
Nice move. Good.
Stroll with no patience, the low IQ move. We were so much quicker than Stroll, and he's just gone for that open lobby move where, I don't know, it just makes no sense. You don't dive bomb a car that's like a second a lap faster than you. You're just not in the same race as us, mate, and he's given himself front wing damage. I have to check over the car to make sure we're okay, because there was contact. Oh my word! Stroll's come at us from nowhere and has damaged the other side of his wing. We were looking at our MFD, we were checking the car, we weren't really... Stroll wasn't on my radar. He was that far back, but I don't think we got DRS on that straight. And so he just came out of nowhere and just drove into us. So again, Stroll, bonehead move of the race. Not only losing one piece of wing, but the other side as well. Stroll's race in the muds. Schumacher next in the Haas. Let's see if we can get this guy. Try and go around the outside into the stadium section. It's going to be tough to make this stick, but we'll have the inside for the next left-hander, and that is job done. The problem with overtaking into the stadium section and not having DRS on someone is you can leave yourself open to be re-overtaken on that massive straight. Meanwhile, update on Alonso. He's lost his front right end plate and has got no pace relative to his teammate. He's actually starting to lose touch and fall out of the DRS range. And when he does, he's actually going to be susceptible to Hamilton. He's 19 seconds ahead of us. My teammate's finally in, and I imagine he's going to go to softs and steal my fastest lap off me. But yeah, the goal for us now is just to beat Gasly, get a point, and then we can double our points tally with that fastest lap. But hopefully we've got the pace to cover off our teammate, who will be very quick at the back end of this race. We've been trading fastest laps all race, but Porsche is going to have a major advantage on that front. But meanwhile, this is the battle up ahead. This is for 8th place, I think. Hamilton versus Alonso, the grudge match of the century. They're having their ultimate 1v1 in their own little world. You can see the McLaren has gone way up the road. That's Schwartzman. So much has been the battling that they're just holding each other up now. So the gap to them is, 16 seconds. We've caught them by 3 seconds. Make that 5 or 6 seconds in the last couple laps. So they're squabbling everywhere pretty much. Alonso has major damage. Hamilton has a bit of damage, and now they've got even more. So I think Hamilton's now got floor damage or side pod damage, and Alonso, well, ditto. Gap is 13 seconds. We're closing up to Gasly. We are going to get a point in this Mexican Grand Prix, but could we get more? There's 6 laps to go, and the likes of Hamilton and Alonso are losing like 2 seconds a lap, I want to say, which is absolutely insane. Round the outside we go on Pierre Gasly, and we now have a point against our name. Remember what I said earlier about overtaking in this part of the track? Well, we may potentially feel some pain in a second as we get a warning. We're trying to, venture off circuit there. Job done. But then AlphaTauri, as we know, is unbelievably quick in a straight line. They're in our DRS, only 3/10 behind. I don't have much battery to defend with. 14% and falling. We're now below 10%, and there goes the, the absolute rocket ship. Into P10 once again. And not only does he get DRS for this straight, it's a double DRS zone. He gets DRS for this next straight as well, which is absolute pain. There he goes. DRS. I'm using all my battery. I'm going to be on 0% by the end of the straight. I wanted to dive bomb into this left-hander. That's not a thing. But we can't afford to get held up by this guy anymore. We've got to overtake him in the middle sector. And we're going to do it now. Up the inside. Absolute dive bomb into the middle sector. And we now have P10 in this race. The term dive bomb gets thrown around a lot in the comments. But that is worthy of the tag. What a move into that slow speed right-hander. Massive dive. And we get the job done. Speaking of dives, Alonso diving up the inside of Lewis Hamilton. Who's got DRS here? It's hard to tell if Alonso was defending or attacking for that. He was defending. So Alonso stays ahead for the time being. It's great that Alonso is the lead car because he's got more damage.
Hamilton's ahead of you, and gap to the car in front is 7.6 seconds. Okay, they're on old hard tyres. They've done 14 laps on those tyres now, and the time last lap was a 1 minute 18.8. This is great. We're gaining by around 9/10 a lap. Keep it up.
9/10 a lap. This lap is actually going to be even more because I saw how much they were battling. It's probably going to be closer to a 1.5 seconds. And it continues into the first chicane. That's where they lose so much time. Chicanes. Chicanes. Canada as well is a massive one for AI squabbling and losing so much time. They were like 25 seconds ahead of us. And now they are within touching distance of us. We could potentially actually get more points in this race. We could maybe even beat Fernando Alonso, our championship rival, and take some points off him after the horrible day we've had.
You're gaining by 1.6 seconds a lap.
1.6 seconds a lap. The gap is only 4 seconds now with 3 to go. We're gaining so much in these high-speed S's because of the damage, but then it doubles down through the chicanes when they're squabbling as well. 1.9 to Fernando Alonso. We will be on them on the last lap of this Mexican Grand Prix. 1.6. You can see they gain a little bit on the straights because that's where they're OP. But they lose a lot of time here. They're side by side again into the chicane. Alonso having the inside. Oh, he's going to hold the outside for the final right-hander. And Alonso does stay ahead again. That's what we want. Alonso leads with that massive front wing damage. They're both so stubborn. They both have damage. They both should have made a pit stop. And they would have come out ahead of me easily when they first got the damage. But no, it's the ultimate grudge match. Who could throw away the most points at this stage? Hamilton will be vulnerable now. We are going to be all over him through these high-speed S's with that damage he's got. I suspect floor damage as well. Side pod potentially too. That car is going to feel absolutely atrocious, especially with the lower wings that they're running as well. Dive bomb? No dive bomb. Not on this occasion. Painful how slow he's going through the slow speed, but it's just the sheer amount of damage. He's got no confidence, no grip. Those tyres are wearing out as well. We have a lot of tyre wear upgrades. Up into overtake. And we're going to try and punch past Hamilton here on this straight if we can. We'll have DRS as well for the next straight, so that's all good. And we need to nail this guy now to have a shot at Fernando Alonso because he's going to be so slow through the S's. We get Hamilton. Massive gain under brakes. It's just the lack of downforce that he has just preventing him to push so much into overtake again. We're going to save a little bit of ERS if we can. Max Verstappen crosses the line to win the Mexican Grand Prix. And yeah, definitely the Mexican fans are going to be leaving in droves now. But here we go. This is the battle, the 1v1 between ourselves and Fernando Alonso. Gap in the championship is 22 points heading into this race, and we could walk away with a slimmer lead in the championship. We just got to overtake this guy now. Into overtake. DRS is open, heading into the stadium section for the last time in this race, around the outside of Fernando Alonso, and we have turned around a 30-second deficit to our championship rival. The championship is still alive, heading into the last two races, 8th place at the Mexican Grand Prix.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
What a comeback. I can't believe Fernando has bottled it that hard.
It's a performance to be proud of from our Mexico City Grand Prix winners today. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today? Here come today's winners. The team at Red Bull have done a phenomenal job recently, and it's clear to see that they've put in the work, and they should be so proud of the victory they've secured here.
Anyway, I'm sure those guys had a nice race. Verstappen dominating, but not in the fastest laps, not in the pace department. Maybe he was managing that race. He did have a bit of a lead, but those Alpines, double podium. Great job from those guys. Magnussen looked quick at times, getting the odd fastest lap, but in the end didn't have the consistency that Verstappen did. I'm sure he was managing the race by some margin. But for us, it's 8th place, and that's probably the most hard-fought 8th place I'll ever do in my life. 16.9 fastest lap, 22nd to 8th, 14 spots gained. And it all begun by being mounted, or mounting, Alexander Albon. What a weird Grand Prix. We threw that one away with the restart, crashing into George Russell in the Haas, and not getting a safety car. Not getting a safety car for Sergio Perez retiring. If there was a safety car at any point that we needed it, I mean, Verstappen would be shaking in his boots. We had so much pace in that Grand Prix. And unfortunately, we're only able to flex it on the bottom half of the field. But there we go. At least there's some positive to take out of this race. We do close in the championship. It's now 20 points heading into the last two races. We head to Brazil next. I'm quite strong there. We've got a sprint race as well. So if we're on form, we've got 2 races there to really close in the championship gap. But then Abu Dhabi is a weird one. I'm not very fast and very confident at that circuit on this game. It's the same case of the Australian Grand Prix, where you've got muscle memory and the corners are all changed, and it's a lot harder to change a slightly altered track than what it is to learn a new track for me, because I'm trying to unlearn certain habits, and that in itself is very difficult. But enough talk about Abu Dhabi. That's the Mexican Grand Prix. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a weird and a wild one, but it was an entertaining one nonetheless. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I will see you next time.